absolutely no hate to this person, because I do think this is a mindset that a lot of people have if they've never struggled with their mental health. Now, I want to tell you about somebody who I know personally who has always said mental health doesn't exist, it's not a thing, you've just got to get on with it, who has experienced their first bout of anxiety so severe they weren't able to sleep and they were having chest pains. Now, this person is very much a stiff upper lip, you've just got to get on with it, you've got a job to do, you've got to go to work, and they have been floored by this inability to just push through because of the physical symptoms that they were having with their anxiety. Mental health is something that can affect you at any point in your life. You could have been someone who has gone through your entire life and never struggled with your mental health, and then something could happen. Somebody that you love could pass away, you could lose your job, something even small could happen in your life that is the catalyst to a downward spiral, which means that you need intervention and you need support. What you don't need in a time like that, where you are down, is somebody saying, you don't really have an issue, do you? And actually, mental health is a sickness of the rich, because it's all relative. It is all relative to your life. And I honestly think if you've never experienced significant mental health issues, I could sit here and explain it until I was blue in the face. You're not going to get it. You're either going to argue with me or you're going to placate me and just agree to disagree, or just nod because you don't want to talk about it anymore. But dealing with mental health issues head on is the best way to deal with it. Brushing it under the carpet and forgetting that it exists doesn't actually help anybody deal with it. It just pushes it down the timeline a little bit later, until it rears its ugly head and you have to deal with it tenfold because you've not dealt with it at the time. Do you know who struggles the most from this mindset? It's men. Because there's a huge stigma, no matter how much we talk about it, about mental health in men and how men should just carry on and keep going. And there is a reason that the mental health issues and the rates in men is so much higher in men over the age of 55, because you can only keep pushing those feelings away until a certain point. And again, in relation to this comment about mental health is a sickness of the rich and people in third world countries wouldn't suggest they're too ill to work. Again, it is all relative. If you had to go to work to feed your family, I'm sure you would find a way to go if there was no other option. That doesn't mean it's good for you, it doesn't mean it's sustainable, and it doesn't mean that you lead a quality of life. We have a standard in the UK, which means if you cannot meet this standard of your basic needs, the government will step in and help you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every single person who claims benefits is following the rules perfectly and is in need. There are always going to be people who play the system, and there are always going to be people who potentially don't need those benefits or the level of benefits that they get. But this change in rules isn't going to penalise them, because if they don't want to go to work, they're going to find a way around it. They're not going to go to work. It will be the middle people who are off because they are genuinely in need and they need a little bit of help to get back on their feet. They're going to be the people that get penalised. The people who don't want to go to work, who have no intention of going to work, aren't going to be the ones who go back to work. They're either going to turn to crime to fund their lifestyle, drugs to fund their lifestyle, or they're going to find another way to play the system. If they don't want to go, they're not going to go. And we're just going to be cutting off people that are genuinely in need, in my opinion.